All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, and you know what that means. Wednesday Wisdom. Reading from Dr. Wayne W. Dyer's Wisdom of the Ages, 60 Days to Enlightenment. And that's the ultimate challenge. But in this series, we've been going through Wisdom of the Ages and learning a new lesson each time and transforming our lives in the process, hopefully, because it is the practice. And it really is a practice, a continual effort to try to get better, to try to be better, but not in the way that most people think, because here we're trying to get better and be better as people, as complete, we're trying to increase the quality of our lives. And so that's something I say every time I do one of these. And I think it's important to continue to say that, because without a purpose, then why are you doing whatever it is that you're doing? And, there was somebody who told me recently, because I was telling them about this stuff, and they were asking me how I'm so, relaxed all the time, or how do you let so many things just slide on by like it's not a really big deal? And I told them, well, I've put in a lot of work in order to try to get to this point. And, it's something that you have to continue to do. And it's something you have to. I told him I'm obsessed with trying to increase the quality of life. And he was like, well, that's a great thing to be obsessed with. And I didn't think about it like that, but I agree. And so why isn't it that more of us aren't at least interested or fascinated, maybe even, with the idea and the ability to increase the quality of our life through what we're going to do here today, and what this chapter, which I didn't realize this as I was talking about this, but we're going to put in the work, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. As you can see, the top of this chapter here is titled Work, and that is our subject for the day. But as we know, Wayne Dyer and today's Lebanese mystic, poet, dramaticist, and dramatist, Kalil Gibran. So Dr. Dyer, Kalil Gibran, and myself will bring to us some interesting wisdom about the subject or idea of work. And as I was saying, we never know. I never know where Wayne Dyer goes with these. I don't pre-read these. I actually wasn't entirely sure what the topic was for the day. So it's so funny that my beginning rambling here kind of ties into this doing the work, the practice, the daily effort, excuse me, to try to get to where it is we want to go, but in at the same time bringing happiness along the way as part of the process. Like I say at the end of all these, if we can make happiness the way, then the goal becomes irrelevant, but that doesn't make the process and the journey irrelevant. Then the journey and the process is wonderful. Now, Work is the title. And Kalil Gibran wrote, he lived 1883 to 1931, lived in the United States after 1910. He wrote, when you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music. To love life through labor is to be intimate with life's inmost secret. All work is empty save when there is love, for work is love made visible. For work is love made visible. Wow. That's a short one. Normally we have some long readings. Sometimes it takes a whole page. But this one is powerful, and it makes me think of the practice and the work and the dedication to trying to make your life better through researching great wisdom, wisdom of the ages, wisdom of the Tao, and other great knowledge and wisdom throughout the ages, throughout history. As it's like that's what I'm thinking when Kalil Gibran is describing the true, a greater way to go about work, to think about work. When you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music. That makes me think of the, the little message about the mountains and how the beauty of the crevices and, the different shapes of the mountains comes from the time and the battering of the elements to shape the beauty of the mountains. And so there's this contrast of the hours, the labor that is said in the second line, and it turns to music. It is the love that is made visible. To love life through labor is to be intimate with life's inmost secret. And once again, this makes me think of the process. If we're not bringing love to the process, and love and music, metaphorically, are not the results we will get. But let's see what Dr. Wayne Dyer has to say about this interesting subject already. I had no idea it was going to go this way, ladies and gentlemen. It was just by happen chance that I started talking about things the way I did when I started this video. And I also have no idea the title early in the video. And so if you find that the title doesn't quite match what is being talked about in the beginning, sometimes that's because I build more of a title off of the entirety of the video, and usually the last 3/4. But we'll see. This one's been about doing the inner work so far to change your life. Wayne Dyer begins by saying, if I were pressured to put down in percentages what part of me is visible and what part of me is invisible, I would divide myself up this way. I feel like I've heard him say this before in a previous chapter. I would divide myself up in this way, he says: 1% visible, 99% invisible. This is my conclusion based on the ancient biblical reminder, as you think, so shall ye be. And that's one of the most important teachings when it comes to the keys of manifesting, ladies and gentlemen, is what you think about expands. We've probably said that 100 times. And this is because what you think about is all you have to go on when you're living your life. So if your thoughts are filled with things that are just random or nonsense, then that's kind of what becomes your life, just a bunch of random and nonsense. If you're peaceful and happy about the random nonsense, then you have this random, peaceful, happy, nonsense kind of life. And you see where I'm going. And so as you think, so shall ye be. Our thoughts, that invisible part of our humanity, ladies and gentlemen, hope you're listening, determine everything about our physical, visible self, which is the major chunk of our earthly existence. Our thoughts, that invisible part of our humanity, is what determines the physical part of our humanity. It might sound far-fetched if this is something new to you, but those who have studied and have put in the work, quote unquote, this spiritual or philosophical, metaphysical, whatever it is, psychological, whatever you want to describe this kind of work as, this personal work, this inner work, we're on the way to discovering. This is my conclusion, Wayne Dyer says, that 99% of us is invisible versus the 1% visible here, based on the idea of as you think, so shall you be. Now, here also in the invisible domain rests the part of us that is real, the aspect which we may think of as the soul or the eternal self that resists change, the death-defying aspect of oneself, maybe you could call it. Take a few moments right now to think of yourself in this way. Contemplate yourself as 1% material and 99% spirit. And I'll jump in here while we contemplate ourselves in this way, especially if it's for the first time. And I'll bring emphasis to the fact that in this invisible domain rests that part of us which is real. There was another great saying, I think from the Tao or from one of the great teachers, Sufi poet, mystic, one of those, who says that which is real, that is real, which never changes. And so the part that never changes is that part of us that is all connected, that is the Tao, you could describe it as, but it is this non-physical, this invisible part of you that is always there throughout the ever-changing of the outside physical world. And, you know, like you can think about the time when you were younger and you flew over the bicycle jumps and or jumped over the fences or ice skated and did twirls or whatever it was. I mean, I'm young now, but there are still things that even in my own younger life that the body I have now, doing kick flips down 7 stair sets on a skateboard, my body just couldn't do it. I mean, I could do it, but whew, the impact, the results would be far different for my physical self. This part of me that is ever changing, that is not so much the real me. That makes me think of the persona, the mask, the I am Chase, and this is who I am. And, you know, in the physical world, we make all these labels for ourselves, which is the part of the 10,000 things coming from what we learned yesterday with the Tao perspective. Tuesday Tao, if you haven't checked out those videos in that series on my channels, be sure to do that. If you're getting value, leave me a comment. Let me know why. So we're talking about here, we're contemplating ourselves as 1% material and 99% spirit. And I was talking about it in the way of that part of you which is real, which is always with you through the changing of your external form. There's a great president that said, do not, I am fine. It is just my house that is decaying and decrepit. He was talking about this idea, this part of you that is not your house, that is not your body. But even though this is the garage for our soul, as Wayne Dyer so eloquently puts it, which he might have got it from somebody else, as we see throughout all this great work. The wisdom of the ages is passed down from master to master to master to student, and we're all students and masters in the process, ladies and gentlemen. So apologies for my ramble there. Wayne Dyer continues by saying, now with this image in place, because we were just contemplating ourselves, 1% material, 99% spirit. Now with this image in place, remind yourself that all of our actual working represents only a small portion of that 1%. Yeah, so all the physical labors that we do in this physical realm that our non-physical self, watches or attends to throughout the journey is less than 1%. If that is part of the physical experience, and the physical experience is only 1%. So, sorry, I got a hair over here that's been bothering me, but that's all right. That comes with having long hair, ladies and gentlemen. So this small portion of the 1%, perhaps less than 1/4 of 1% of our total humanity, is invested in the actual physical activity called work. Because think about how many thoughts you're having during all of the physical. Think about how your mind and your thoughts and this whole process up here is 99% of everything else. Or maybe you could say it as it's more of what's happening really than anything physical. Now, here also in the invisible domain, sorry, I went back a bit there. That part got me so good. Represents the part of us that is real. So if this 1/4 of 1% of our total humanity, physical life, is called work, but our thoughts about work represent the larger portion of our humanity, our thoughts, the soul, derived from the 99%, are always with us. To spend our life energy over our chosen work, immersing our soul in displeasure and anger and frustration here in the material realm of existence, is to have our priorities completely reversed, backwards, ladies and gentlemen. If we are 99% invisible, then this is the place where love ought to rule supreme, Wayne Dyer says. And can you see simply how if we are spending our mind, this greater part of our existence, to create whatever physical experience it is that we're having, to be displeasureful and discomforting through our own mental creation, it's like, yes, you might have to chop wood and carry water to live, but you can also chop wood and carry water and see the beauty of the water and thank the trees for the wood, or you have this new perspective. That's the quote. Before Enlightenment, chopping wood, carrying water, and after Enlightenment, you're still chopping wood and carrying water, but you just have this new blissful perspective because you realize that it's the way that you created with the 99% of you that is invisible, your real self. Now, your thoughts about the work you are doing are 99% of who you truly are, Wayne Dyer puts it. When you hate your work, 99% of your human essence is directed to 1% of your total humanity. These thoughts originate in the realm of yourself. This is a great teaching. I hope you're getting value. Consider subscribing, ladies and gentlemen. So these thoughts originate in the realm of yourself, or in your inner space. Doing the inner work is what we're talking about here, where feelings of turmoil, or even the opposite of inner peace, can reside. The way that Wayne Dyer worded it there was, these thoughts originate in the realm of yourself where feelings of inner peace reside. Kalil Gibran calls this life's inmost secret. So going back to the quote from the poem there, to love life through labor is to be intimate with life's inmost secret. See what he was talking about there was this internal process. Remember, change your thoughts, change your life. That's the whole secret of almost, everything that I really get into so far, because it's just the simplest, most succinct, poignant way to put it. If you do not love, so we're talking about, Kalil Gibran calls this inner place that has the opportunity for anything, including feelings of inner peace. Kalil Gibran calls this life's inmost secret. If you do not love what you do and do what you love, you have chosen mayhem over music. Remember, you are the flute through which the breath of life goes through in order to create the music. That's a deep one. I want to say it one more time. When you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music. Some powerful stuff here. So, if you do not choose love when you do whatever it is that you do, you have chosen to create no music. You've chosen mayhem over music. There is absolutely no excuse for continuing in a state where you are not doing what you love or loving what you do, because you have two simple choices, ladies and gentlemen, and it might not seem simple the first time this kind of philosophy is presented to you, because if you present this to somebody who's struggling and they're not happy with their life and work sucks and there's no other alternatives, and they're telling you, I'm telling you, there's not just two choices. This isn't simple. And it's all about what you think, the way you choose to think about your life. And if you choose to think about it in a way that it is struggle and you have no control over it and there's nothing you can do, then that's what becomes your reality. It's not like, so you think you shall be. That's what it is. It's not like, so you be, then you shall think that. So what I'm saying is, you have to think it first. You have to think that there is something you can do to change it. You have to think that you don't have to be where you are. And there is something like that once you can attach to the idea that you can do something, you have the power in your life with your mind to change whatever it is that you're going through. And if it's something that you can't physically change, that you physically, it's something that is just there in your life and you have to deal with it, then you can change it in the way that you deal with it, that you respond to it. And these are hard things to get to. And so, I'm not trying to beat down anybody that's struggling with life. I'm just trying to make it serious, that this isn't just think about rainbows and unicorns and life gets better. This is work that we're talking about here. This is inner work to increase the quality of our lives through a greater understanding. Maybe that's what enlightenment is, through this greater awareness, this greater understanding of how the nature of reality in our own minds, and understanding life in a new way, chopping wood and carrying water, but with a new perspective. So there's absolutely no excuse, Wayne Dyer continues, for us continuing in a state where we're not doing what we love or loving what we do, because we have two simple choices. This is what I was getting at with that ramble. Number one, change what you are doing if you don't like it, and then embrace something that you love. And then number two, if you can't change what it is you're doing, change how you feel about what you are currently doing to reflect the love that you want to come into your life, to flow into your life. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy and thankful and grateful for all that has come into my life and that continues to flow into my life and all of your lives as well. So continue to keep that in your mind as you go throughout whatever it is we go throughout in our lives. So, we want to reflect. When we change how we feel about what it is that we're doing, usually it's the labors in our life, because nobody really loves the labors. Even if you love your work, you still have to put in all the information that goes with the video at the end of this video, and that's not as fun as making the video. But it's part of it. It's part of the process. And so I've changed how I feel about that part of the process to reflect what it is that I want to flow into my life. But I'm detached from the outcome. Remember, that's one of the keys. Independent of good opinion, and have no investment in power or dominance over others. Those are the three keys to becoming a self-actualizing individual, from Abraham Maslow. Thank you very much. Dr. Wayne Dyer. Boom, ladies and gentlemen. Boom to knowledge, but we're not done. Keep going. We still got a page and a half. This is fantastic. So number two, you change how you feel about what you're currently doing to reflect what you want to dominate in your life, especially the love. Love what you do. To continue without making either of these choices is to sacrifice the major part of your life for the purpose of satisfying less than 1% of your humanity. So the choice is to sacrifice your mental experience of your life, which is pretty much all of it, for your physical humanity. This is deep and amazing. When you are born into this world, Wayne Dyer continues, your work is born with you. You've been made for some particular work. And it's great to think that way, that everybody has everybody has a spot that they can fit into. It's just for us to do the work, the inner work, to try to figure out that spot, what you like, what are you naturally good at? What do you like? And how do those two things align with something that can help people in the community and in the world? And that's the secret to success in life right there. Do you find what you're naturally good at, and you find something that you like, that you're naturally good at, that you enjoy, and then how that can in turn help serve people, service in some way. And then through that process, you get, the return. And that is the find your life's calling and how to make a living doing what you love, kind of simple solution thing there. I could probably write 89 pages about that, and that would be the first book I ever wrote. Hopefully, I'll remember this sentence to myself, because I've yet to begin Well, I actually did begin my first book, but I only got about a page in, ladies and gentlemen. And damn, it was a good page, I tell you what. And see, that's what I was saying. I was like, we're always wanting to find the way to happiness. And in the process of doing so, we fail to recognize that happiness is the way. So, let's see, this is wonderful. I'm loving this today. I hope you're getting value, ladies and gentlemen. So when you're born into this world, your work is born with you. You've been made to do some particular work. And the desire for that work was put into your heart at the moment you showed up here. If you are unable to feel connected to that purpose because you have opted to do something that you don't love, regardless of how all that got started or what keeps you there today, you can benefit greatly by listening to the poetic advice of that great Lebanese poet, Kalil Gibran. What risks are involved? Your humanity, your soul itself is at stake. I know how easy it is to reject this advice, Wayne Dyer says, and I sincerely agree with him. I know how easy it is for all of us to hear these kind of things and just, you know, oh, you're just telling me things and you're just saying, I know how easy it is to reject this kind of advice because we all can find many practical and solid reasons for being unable to do what we love in life. But the message of the poet will never be silenced, ladies and gentlemen. Quote unquote, all work is empty save where there is love. If you didn't get that, if the word save throws you off because it's kind of classical and you're young like me or somebody younger than I am, all work is empty but where there is love, except for where there is love. In translation for the younger ones here. If you want to feel empty and sacrifice the music of your soul in non-love every day in the name of practicality, which is the controlling measure of life, is practicality. Like, I would love to, do my heart's calling, sell paintings for a living, or be an author or a speaker, or whatever it is. If you just want to work on your apple orchard. There's a great story that Wayne Dyer tells about this vocational thing, work, finding your purpose. And he's like, he talked to this guy one time and he works at a factory or something for 40 years or something like that. And he said, well, what do you really love doing? He goes, I love my apple orchard. I get out there and I feel like I'm just with God and the apples. And he could tell him all these things about apples that nobody knew. He's like, you got to, you do it this certain way and you refrigerate them for this certain amount of time to keep them just right for this kind of process. And when all he loved his apples. And Wayne asked the guy, he said, well, why aren't you, there's people that need apple juice or apple pies need made. And, there is a place for what it is that you love. And the guy said, I've been at this factory for 40 years. And this is what I told myself I wanted to do when I was, 20 years old or something. And Wayne asked the guy, would you go to a 20-year-old for vocational advice today? And so it's a great story. That's always the comical part. It's like this guy loved his apples, but he always worked in the factory and he could have been working with his apples, even though he was on the weekends and things. But it's just a great thought when it comes to finding your life's purpose and your calling and, your destiny, whatever it is. But this was more about work. There's other videos, even though this one's talking a great deal about how to find the correct work for yourself. But I think this is more about doing the inner work and finding something, maybe your life's purpose or peace within yourself, or maybe that's the purpose anyways. Now, sorry, without any more interruptions, I'll continue, hopefully. So whatever risks are involved, I know how easy it is to reject this advice. We can all find many practical reasons, but the poet will never be silenced. If you want to feel empty and sacrifice the music of your soul in non-love every day in the name of practicality, see, I was just talking about practicality. then you have made a choice to abandon your specific purpose in this life. And that's the scariest part. Abandoning our specific purpose, not doing our universal job. Wayne Dyer continues, but if you want to feel at work as if you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns to music, I invite you to shift around your inner perspectives and perceptions about why you are working in the first place. And this is something that can really change the practical, mundane job, like working in a retail position, to being wonderful and just fine as a necessary part of my journey and path, which is I'm a retail worker currently, but I also do all this and that and plenty of other things, ladies and gentlemen. But it's so how you change your perspective of how you look about what you're doing in the first place, regardless of where you are. Your first answer is most likely to do with making money. Of course, we all got to make a living to pay the bills and make life more comfortable for ourselves, if that is your path. Love my tea, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you like a good green tea kombucha. Although those fizzy kombuchas are kind of weird. This is just like normal tea. Your first answer is most likely to do with making money, of course, because that's what we all think about first. All right, that's where I was going. You think you must do what you've been trained to do or what you've always done to keep the money flowing. So when it comes to trying to follow and find our purpose in this life, Wayne Dyer is asking us to challenge this conclusion about money by recognizing it as a dictate of our cultural conditioning that we've all been brought up in. I suggest, Wayne Dyer says, that you should shift to doing first and foremost what you love, what your soul prompts you to do, and see the money as it follows. Remember, this love, this when you create this energy, this mirror for the universe, when you're able to love, then it's love that comes into your life. And if you're able, this is how, we're talking about manifesting here again. This process, you must do what you've been trained to do or what you've always done to keep the money flowing. He says, challenge this. If we shift to doing first and foremost what we love, what we're good at naturally, and what aligns with the service to people in the community. See, some people love playing video games and they're naturally good at it, but how does that provide a service to the community? There are ways to argue that one too, but so that's what I get when I ask my nephew. So what would you do if something you were good at and you loved doing, and you just had a choice, whatever you could do for you? And he goes, I'd play video games. And I was like, dang it. I mean, there are people that make money playing video games, but it's not quite in alignment with service in order to create the backflow of the repayment for services given in a manner of love. This is kind of how to create and find your life's purpose. But anyways, how to do the inner work and create your life's purpose. I ask you to challenge the conclusions that money is the number one motivator, Wayne Dyer says. Do what your soul prompts you to do and then see if the money doesn't follow. In the ancient Hindu holy scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, which we should all look into. If you've never heard of the Bhagavad Gita or never read a few of its lines, just do some quick Google searches and check that out. You'll love it if you're getting value out of this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. God, or Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, tells his student, Arjuna, it's a great story, while the unwise work for the fruits of their actions, the wise offer all results of their action to me. The message is that in work, do what you enjoy, what you love, and let the universe take care of the details. Remember, unattached from the results, just on purpose with the process, because the process is where it's at. Happiness is the way, not happiness is the result. Now, Do what you enjoy, what you love, let the universe take care of the details. Know in your heart that doing what you love and loving what you do is far superior to loving what you may produce or the compensation you've received for your labor. This is so important for a lot of people today. Love, I'll read that again. Knowing in your heart that doing what you love and loving what you do is far superior to loving what you may produce or the compensation you receive for your labor is a great key to finding happiness in the work that you do in your life, ladies and gentlemen. Read Gibran's advice, Wayne Dyer says, and contemplate the joy and playfulness in what he offers. You are a flute, and your work is love made visible. The more you blur the line between work and play, the more you follow the poet's advice. I personally make no distinction between my work and my play, Wayne says. I hardly know which is which I do here with these videos and with my painting and a lot of the things that I do. I even try to do it when I'm literally at work at the grocery store. Like, I try to make it this process of I'm enjoying what I do and I'm thankful, grateful. That's one of the great practices is gratitude. Literally changes life. Gratitude, ladies and gentlemen. Be thankful for whatever it is that you're doing. And then whatever it is that you're doing becomes pretty all right. Maybe even better than that. And so I personally make no distinctions between my work and my play, Wayne Dyer was saying. I hardly know which is which, and I pursue my own vision through whatever I do, and I leave others to determine whether I am working or playing. You're finding this tough and difficult to think about beginning this process because money is strapping. This is where it was tough for me. I was like, well, I have to make enough to pay the rent. How can I do anything that I want to do? So it's like 1%. You're doing the work, you're chopping the wood and carrying the water to pay the rent, to give yourself the opportunity to get yourself to a place to where you can do what you love and love what you do. So sometimes in the beginning, it's a process of shifting your life because you've now shifted the way that you think about your life and how you can influence it and the power that you have and the control that you have over your life, ladies and gentlemen, and you do have it. Because we begin in this position to where we've given the control away. And so in order to shift to where we have the control and go in a new direction is a process, and you have to be okay with the process. I keep saying that in this video. Doing the inner work and creating your life's purpose. Hopefully I can remember that for the title. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I feel joy for what I'm doing. Yeah, so whether I'm at work or at play, Wayne Dyer say, I simply cannot decide. The same is true when I speak, play tennis, romp around with the children. I always seem to be doing both work and play. And it's a good thing to think of your hobbies as fun versions of work. So when it is that you're doing that kind of work, you can get into the feeling of doing work and enjoying it and doing your work, your inner work, your own work. Inner work and outer work are two different things, but if you can align the two, there's a real secret. So, indeed, work is love made visible. I cannot offer no more powerful advice than Gibran's advice. Do what you love and love what you do is a choice that you can begin making now. To do so, try these suggestions. And this is why you want to get this book for yourself to put on your own bookshelf, because there's practical ways and suggestions that Wayne Dyer gives to us at the end of each of these short little chapters that we can apply this life-changing knowledge practically into our life. Number one, oh yeah, I have the book linked in the description below. If you go underneath the video here and expand the description, the book is linked there. Amazon link. They probably give me a few pennies, but I don't know if anybody's ever purchased through the link yet. So get your bookshelf going, folks. What are you waiting for? Number one, to begin making this advice a part of our life is make a conscious decision to stop finding fault with your daily work activity. Practice being grateful for the opportunity to work. Send love to each person you encounter and make being joyful a deliberate act on your part, regardless of how it is received by others. Number 2, take the risk to make a major change, regardless of your age or seniority. Decide what you most enjoy doing in your life, regardless of whether it is dancing, gardening, writing, or working crossword puzzles. Then devise a plan to make this activity your work/play regimen for a week or two. Before long, you'll have overcome your cultural conditioning that says that work is what you have to do. And this is a laborious and dull activity in order to pay the bills. So you're shifting your vision here about it. You're shifting the way you think about it. Shift to the lesson that Kalil Gibran wrote for all of us. Work is love made visible. When you decide to do what you love, this is number 3, and love what you do, when you decide these things, let go of your temptation to anticipate disaster. So when you're going into doing what you love, let go of your thoughts of negativity or disaster, because that will cancel the flowing. Stay focused on your purpose in the joy of living there, and refuse to allow other thoughts to interfere with your vision. Remember, become detached from the good opinion of others. Become detached from the negative opinion of others. Remember, the love you feel for what you do is a thought, ladies and gentlemen. Number 4, when you are inspired in your work, everything seems to fall into place. You don't focus on lack of money, being tired, or hungry. Your inspiration alone seems to make everything you need show up right on schedule, as if God were right there with you, guiding you along. The word inspire originates, and I've said this before on this series, from in spirit, being in spirit, inspired. Indeed, when you are inspired, you are in bliss, as you are working with and for spirit. Great spirit, the Tao, universal intelligence, God, whatever you want to call it. And number 5, work can be thought of as the daily chores of your life. Practice loving thoughtfulness in every so-called chore of your day. Notice spirit, soul, life, the 99% of you that is invisible as you sweep, make a bed, shop, pick up a pencil, and all these simple things that we so often overlook in life. Your loving attention directed toward every physical moment you make is a beautiful and practical way of loving your life through your labor. Boom, ladies and gentlemen, that's a knocks it out the park. Boom to knowledge. Holy cow. And the next week is about inspiration. What a beautiful way to transition the last line there about being in spirit, inspired. That was amazing, ladies and gentlemen. The last half of that, see, was about finding your life's purpose and how to follow your life's purpose. So this is like, let's see, I'm trying to think of how to title this. How to love. Doing the inner work, how to love your work, how to find your life's purpose. Something like that. Because it was about the inner work that it takes to change the way you think about work, and then how to find your life's purpose through doing what you love. See, that's too long for a title, but anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was fantastic. Once again, from Kalil Gibran, myself, and Dr. Wayne Dyer. Work. Boom. That was amazing. I hope you get value, ladies and gentlemen. If you did, subscribe and leave me a comment and smash the like button. All those things help push these videos up in the algorithm so more people that wouldn't see it naturally, which we call it naturally, but through the computer algorithms, because you know what the computer wants everybody to watch. It's a bunch of nonsense, not this. But so the more people interact with this, the more that you interact with this and click the button or leave a comment or share this with somebody on, different social media platforms. You can share from YouTube to most platforms, and that helps push this up there so somebody might change their life. Somebody might hear that one sentence that it takes to help them get through a day easier, to help them feel more love, more joy, more satisfaction, contentment in their life. Because that's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm here. To try to create an access and show a way to a much higher quality of life, a much more enjoyable life. And when we can create a higher quality of life for ourselves, then we can begin to do the same in turn for the lives of those around us and those that we interact with. And so continue, ladies and gentlemen, to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. Continue to seek to discover the hidden wisdom of the ages and continue to make happiness the way, what we bring to life. Because when happiness is the way, what we've been striving for, what we've been so longing to get to, I'll be happy when I get there, that becomes irrelevant because we are already there. The destination becomes the journey, ladies and gentlemen, and the entire journey is wonderful. That was a good one. I love that finishing rant, but I do mean it. I do mean it. And so thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. I love and appreciate everybody, including those of you who spend your time here with me and Dr. Wayne Dyer and Kalil, Gibran, and Lao Tzu, and all the wonderful authors and poets of the wisdom of the ages. And so, like I've said before, we'll be back next week on Tuesday doing the Tao now on Tuesday Tao, and also next Wednesday for more wonderful, life-changing, transformational wisdom of the ages. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to expand the description below, check the links, grab yourself a landscape painting of mine, as well as this book, and put it on your shelf. Until next week.